Hi, welcome to the first part of tonight's edition of Blues Talk. We're again, John, Dave, and myself are going to look back over Leinster's victory against Edinburgh at the weekend and all the other Pro 12 fixtures. So, boys, 20 points to 33 victory against Edinburgh over in Murrayfield.
Tale of two halves, Brian.
Sure, it's egg, Bob.
It was all those things. Every cliche you could throw at it, it was there. Between the 10th and the 38th minute, we could have played well until the 40th minute, but unfortunately we lost pictures. But certainly between the 10th and the 38th minute, we played really, really well. Played some really good, high tempo, attacking rugby. Played really, really well. And then half-time cup of Bovril, sleepy sleep. And then when we came out, Harley had a big run at the start of the second half. And guys fell off the tackle. And obviously really enjoyed it because they decided they were going to do it for the remainder, or pretty much most of the remainder of the half. They just lost focus. I mean, whatever, they switched off at half time.
It's
and
worrying
lost
though
focus.
because it's their second game in a row.
Yeah.
Like in Glasgow, it's the same situation. We had a good lead built up and we let it slip this time. Edinburgh aren't quite as good as Glasgow, so they couldn't. They still got back within 6 points.
Well, it is very worrying though, because it kind of means you don't know where the hell you are. If that was Toulon or if that was picking Wasps or something.
I think
like
we
that,
know where we would be.
we'd have our asses handed to us, So it's kind of like it was a kind of a contradiction, because our line speed was really good, but the tackles weren't sticking, if you like. We're falling off the tackles when we were in, or getting there at the right pace. We just weren't. There was too many guys getting through the tackle, making yards past the tackle, which I don't know. I don't understand. Like, it seems that our defence is very well organised, but the execution of the tackle or whatever it is that's going wrong, it's not. It's fixable, but it's worrying.
There's still some system issues there. You can see by looking at it. I mean, Ringrose shot up a couple of times and they had huge dog legs.
Yeah, thankfully they did as well for.
Yeah.
But Davies try.
I mean, that's to be expected. I mean, for start, we're a team in pretty early season. On top of which, we're a team in early season who's now finessing its defensive system, for want of a better phrase. So I mean, those things are acceptable. What's not acceptable is just sheer mental sloppiness. And then we'll talk about the Ospreys game in part 2. But the one advantage we have, if Johnny starts off the bench, at least you can be sure that with him being the biggest moaner in Northern Hemisphere rugby, guys will be staying sharp in the second half. That's one thing that, he won't tolerate that drop of standards while he's there. So hopefully that'll benefit us. But there were enough leaders on the pitch. The problem is
our captain back.
We're a callow team, 9, 10, 12, 13. We are. I mean, for all Gibson Park's experience, he's still only in the door a wet week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of there is a lot of.
We did have speaking of 9, 10, 12. We did have an 8 in front of him that seemed to just switch back on straight away.
Your genius needs no remix, as a producer once said.
Well, he stepped straight into the shoes and started as he means to continue. So that's a positive. And the two flankers, or the three flankers, should I say, the starting ones, and Van der Fleer off the bench, great.
But that's what I mean about Jamie Heaslip. Been like he's almost like water. He's the ultimate catalyst. You put him into the mix, and everything else gets better. I mean, Levy had a
he's
really.
The Miles Davis of.
He is, yeah. He's the Miles
rowers.
Davis. He is. He can really blow. You put Levy had a great game, and I thought Murphy played really, really well as well. But when you've got Jamie Heaslip kind of behind you, guiding you and kind of pointing the way, of course you're going to play well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Moving forward into the pack, though, I'm not sure about the tight five. How our set piece was kind of falling to bits, and especially when McCarthy was off, the scrum was getting beaten up fairly seriously, which is another worry. Line out, yet another worry. Set piece in general.
Well, the line out was. I mean, I would normally shy away from blaming a hooker for a line out's failures, because there's maybe four.
But this time,
there's maybe 4 or 5 elements to every line out. There's the throw, there's the lift, there's the movement within the up and down the line. There's all that kind of stuff. So it's not always, if a line out goes wrong, it's not always necessarily the hooker's fault. However, this was a case of a guy not hitting his target. And it's a case of a guy who has the yips. as Jason informed me, there's a word that the golf batters use. So and that's what it looks like.
I've seen the back of his car. He has golf bats.
I can well believe it. But I mean, does anyone think that it's anything more than that? Really, I'm not sure.
But like presumably the guys are seeing him in training every day, and he's practicing with. So presumably the lineouts are working in a
Controlled environment.
Exactly.
They're not sending them out there saying, "It'll be all right in the night." They're not doing that. But you see, that's the thing. I say it's probably nothing more than the yips. The other side of that is that kind of psychological thing in a player can be absolutely destroying.
It happens to the best of them.
Yeah.
It happens to Rory Best.
Yeah.
You know, it happened. You know,
Keith Wood.
Yeah.
Keith Wood. It happened all the time.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a tough thing. Like unless you're Jerry Flannery and are prepared to stand there throwing a ball at a wall
But that's what he did.
all day,
But
all
that's what-
night.
I mean,
for lunch,
there's YouTube
breakfast.
pictures of Flannery blindfolded, thrown it 30 meters into a bin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he practiced it so much.
Yeah, it's all about the hard work.
And sometimes that's what you have to do.
And Keith Wood admitted many times that he never put in that kind of hard work.
Yeah, a lot of hookers don't. A lot of hookers because they see. I mean, it's a hugely important part of the game, but it's not their only part of the game.
No.
Especially nowadays. Now that they actually have to hook.
Hook.
There are other skills. So I mean, I don't know.
But it's the primary source of possession in the game.
It has
And
to be fixed.
if your line out, I mean, there's only 8 scrums in a match.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
probably 25 line outs. And the fact that you have Devin Toner, which is probably one of the tallest players in,
One of the best banker balls in
You know,
European rugby. Yeah.
it should be a fairly guaranteed.
Nobody's going to say that it's not serious, but I don't think it's something that can be fixed by practice. I mean, I think it can be fixed, but it's a psychological issue. I mean, it is. I mean, we've seen the guy throw well in the past.
But you know what fixes those issues is practice,
Yeah,
practice,
probably,
and
yeah.
getting so you can do it in your sleep. And, so we'll see. The guy's young, and he is a super player.
He is.
Outside
He's
of
a
that,
very
like,
good player.
when he came on the previous week, I thought he was a back. He kept this guy with a number. I thought it was a 15 or it was a 16 because they all have blonde hair. I thought Dave Carney's bulked up.
And John's eyesight is going at his age.
Here.
Old age and constant masturbation have ruined his eyesight.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, one person who I thought had a shocking game was the ref.
Oh, he's a disaster.
And I mean,
never
it
liked
was
the,
just kind of encapsulated by penalising Ringrose for an alleged deliberate knock on when it was actually a block down from a kick.
I don't like blaming refs for stuff because I think it's an easy way out and I think it's lazy. But having said that, he was fucking atrocious. He really, really was. I mean, he got so much wrong for both teams. In fairness, and the thing about that is it leaves players unsure of what they can and can't do, and it can be both dangerous and it can for the spectator in terms of it ruin the game. Be dangerous for players as well because they're not kind of sure where the line is. Because all players don't care if a ref is ultra strict or ultra lenient, as long as he's always ultra strict and always ultra lenient.
But the amount of matches, I mean, they made some sort of a graphic on Sky a couple of years ago, and they went through all of the top 5 matches that in their belief of the previous season, and nearly all of them was refed by Nigel. And but I mean, like, when you see some of the refs, especially in the Pro 12, you kind of go, this guy is going to ruin the game.
I have to think.
And as you said, he's poor for both sides.
I always thought Scotland was Scotland had a bad run with refs after what's his name, Peter.
The Changlings.
No, your man Peter.
I know.
He was
Peter
in
Allen.
Peter Allen. He kind of put the tin cap on Scottish referees for a while.
The line out with
But
the wrong
I don't
ball.
know. I don't know if Ireland, if we're doing much better at the moment. We had a good run for a while, but we've a couple of shonky ones.
Yeah.
We have a couple of good ones as well. In fairness, I mean, I think John Lacey's a good referee, for example.
I like Lacey. He does get criticised by all and sundry.
Yeah, I think he's a good ref.
There isn't a ref around that someone doesn't hate.
No.
There isn't.
There are some good young referees, and the thing about the Pro 12 is it does give him a run. I mean, I think Ben Whitehouse is a very good
very good,
I
actually.
like him
Yeah.
too, yeah.
I think Lloyd Linton is a guy with a future, and there are young referees out there. Just a matter of giving them, because it's all very well and good and watching Super Rugby or watching the Super Rugby final or watching a rugby championship match and saying, "Geez, isn't Nigel doing well?" or hasn't. And this is something nobody's ever said, but hasn't Jakob Paper done well, right? But those guys have to start somewhere. They don't just suddenly spring fully formed. I mean, I remember Nigel Owens used to get terrible abuse for the standard of his refereeing when he started out.
Yeah, but it's just
Well, that
They-
bodes
they-
well for the
but-
likes of Ben Whitehouse, who's only just started
It
out.
means Wilkes is going to be brilliant.
No, but they let the game be played with a smile. Like, so many of them are nasty, narky, look like they don't want to be there. You know?
Yeah, well, you know, you leave that famous English ref who ruined the All Blacks in 2007 out of this. Yeah, some of them are just pernickety and just come up with things that, and we have one here in Ireland who's brilliant at it. He just comes up with, he invents things. He lets loads of weird things go, and then he invents some mad call to call somebody on that nobody was expecting, and he turns around, looks at them, and goes, "You weren't expecting that, were you? Huh? You weren't. Well, get back."
I half expected to blow a whistle, give a penalty, and then go ta-da!
Well, anyway, on a more positive note,
Mr. Fitzgibbon, I think we're
Oh, yeah.
talking about.
Oh, I think that was perfectly clear what we were talking about. I don't think there could be any cause for doubt who we were talking about.
Anyway.
but anyway, on a more positive note, we did score a number of tries. So why don't we have a look at the first one from Levy, who I thought, as you mentioned, had a really good game.
Yeah. I hope he puts
Look
it on
who's
the
first on the
together.
deck there.
Yeah.
Yeah, after good work from Levy,
Seamus.
as we said, to winkle the ball out.
Mm-hmm.
And Park, you know, he kept the pace going in this game, so he
Yeah.
did. He really did. He just kept it going. He was like you were saying, John, you know the way you always say about Owen Redden?
Mm-hmm.
He just kept
Yeah, there's
pinging
wormhole.
and pinging and pinging and pinging. He was always there.
Personal wormhole
Mm-hmm.
to get him between rooks. Yeah, there was a shocking dog leg for this try, though. I think the two Scottish defenders
Mhm.
didn't know where they were going.
Yeah.
Look at this. Guy had shot up before the
Oh,
ball
yeah.
was even thought about being passed. So
Your man had gone for the Scottish Lewis at that stage, so he had shot up so far.
there was nobody behind either. There was nobody sweeping. There was no full back. There was nothing. So
The Edinburgh Light Rail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was a good try, and nicely.
nice bit
I mean,
of pace for
you have
a
to
big
go,
lad.
A, you have to spot the hole, and B, you have to go through it, and C, somebody has to give you the ball. So, I mean, himself and Reid deserve a lot of deserve praise for that.
And that's the second. There was a similar kind of move with Murphy in the previous game against Glasgow. He made a couple of nice breaks through the middle like him.
If you've got back rows like Reid, like Murphy, like Josh van der Fleer, who can gallop with the best of the backs.
Reid is a centre, but anyway.
What did I say, Reid?
Levy.
Sorry, I meant Levy. Sorry. If you've got guys like who can gallop with the best of the backs, then use them to gallop with the backs. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. We all dream of a team of Keith Lee Sons.
Ringrose got in.
Moving on swiftly.
And the game does move swiftly here. I mean, it's nice. There's a nice pace to it.
Yeah, we just seem to be very confident and have time on the ball and be kind of relentless.
That's because we didn't have the
Didn't have to
halftime
do-
Bovril.
Well, he didn't have to do anything too special in fairness either. Edinburgh were kind of at a training match for a period of that first half. That was a lovely little
Yeah, it
pass
was,
from
yeah.
Levy again. Look, there he is again. Who do you think he's a scrum half? He can do the dirty stuff. He can run with the backs. Is there anything this man cannot do?
Jeez, John, he's going to be.
He can pass.
By the time you're finished this, he's going to be very crusty.
Yeah.
This is a nice pass, actually.
Lovely bit of hands. Again, Ringrose didn't have massive amount to do by his standards, but you know he does do
Took
his
his try
class.
nicely.
Even doing.
I still think I said just to
Stuff
point
like
out that I think the best moment in the match from him actually came on the wing. Yeah, it's nice. Jamie was unlucky not to get over there. Yeah, the pass just fades on your man, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a what you get in baseball when the guy throws the ball and it just drops away.
Slider, is it?
Slider, yeah.
And then good
Issa.
on Issa.
Issa celebrating his
Got it.
150th Leinster appearance.
Yeah, with it
I
right.
think it's a massive amount of games to play for Leinster, isn't it? For a kind of a foreign player.
Yeah, and
Bullocking run from
the
that
fact
man
that
again.
he came here when he was probably in his late 20s.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he just played every game.
And yeah,
Everyone-
two nice hands here.
everyone here-
Especially Sean
Great
Connery.
hands from.
Look at that from
But
a hooker.
if you look at it, the hands are great. But if you look at it, every
of
single
feet.
player, yeah, the use of feet. If you look at Kirshner, he uses his feet just to get that to suck in another man, and then Cronin does the same thing, and that brings the man off Nasiwa onto him, and then he can use his hands. It's really good work.
Issa's a real good old-fashioned try scorer as well. He doesn't faff about.
Watch
He just-
watch
he
Kirshner
doesn't
here.
get a
See, he
smile.
holds it long enough, takes your man in, and then he takes your man in, and then it's gone.
I thought Issa was going to get sin binned
Yeah,
He was really
he was-
he was Mr. Angry for a
He
while
was,
there, wasn't
yeah.
he? We sometimes forget that he is, you know, to a certain he is Fijian, and sometimes he tackles Fijianly.
What's your man's name? The chiropractor, Ryan Lima.
Yeah. Well, you know, if a guy gets a ticking off for tackling high, don't tackle the on you. Don't tackle the same guy high.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. In front of the ref.
Yeah. That was actually after that run of ring roses I was talking
That's
about.
right, yeah.
And then a nice little mall. Go for a walk. Could have had a penalty there. Alice again.
And he does this nicely in fairness to him when it comes through.
Next one.
The ball, scrum half though, keeping the ball moving very nicely.
Classic scrum half, like.
When you look at the score now, you know, it's gone up to 26
Mm-hmm.
and there's 45 minutes to go. You're
Yeah.
thinking,
We don't know if 2 minutes after this, like the Scottish Army didn't fire stun rays at our players because all of a sudden the screen went blank.
disappeared,
We
yeah.
don't know what happened. Do you know what happened?
I know,
That's what it
I
was.
flicked on to BBC to watch the Ulster game.
No, right. I flicked onto BBC Albert to see was it just TG Carr, but it wasn't.
I just went ahead and got a beer. Said it's nearly half time, sure, fake it.
I know we missed a yellow card as well. And so God only knows what that was for, considering as well. So-
Wearing a loud shirt.
And just
built-up area.
as we let them, we were wearing loud shirts in a built-up area, and just to be kind of let them back into it and get a losing bonus point, and you know, danger of winning.
It's something you don't see from Leinster too often is the trick move from the front of the line.
No, we generally don't have to because you know we have Devon there. But it's nice to know that A, it's in the playbook, and B, that the players were
Tune to it.
tuned to it. Like because I mean that he was having a nightmare with the long dart, so we may as well try one of the clever ones.
We should try that Ospreys split line out move from about 7 or 8 years ago.
We could do, but we'd be
That
in
was a
breach
nice
of the
one.
Digital Millennium Copyright Act. I think Ospreys own that move.
Yeah, okay. And I've seen lots of other teams do it.
Yeah, and they all got sued.
And there's all 4 of the Leinster people that were at the game.
I think there was a good crowd.
Ah, it was a good crowd
Was
now.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a couple of camera pans and showed a good sprinkling of Leinster people there.
I thought there were more on the pitch than there were in the
No,
stand.
there was a good crowd there. No.
Well, it said there was 3,500 at it.
Yeah.
Josh van der Fleer holding people in the ruck. God, that's not like him.
3,500 on a Friday
He wasn't
night.
even around when Nathan Hines was playing for Leinster.
3,500 on a Friday night in Edinburgh for a team that you know wouldn't be expected to be. But that's not bad numbers. If they can translate that to Myerside and build on it,
Yeah.
you know, it's a good start.
Just,
you
it
know-
looks ridiculous in Murrayfield.
Oh,
though.
it's stupid, but that's Murrayfield.
We've said
We've
that
said it so many
100
hundreds of times. I mean, the thing is, I mean, what we saw there was we saw a Leinster team that's you know, when it plays well, it plays well. You know, it's a good team when it's playing well, but it just loses. It lost.
If only you could do that for 80 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
We've
just
always
haven't.
said. Do you remember when we interviewed when we were doing Blood, Sweat and Beers? We interviewed Derek Foley, and we were talking about we were playing Cardiff, and he was saying, and this how long ago was that? That was 2008, and he was saying Leinster just seemed to be able to lose 20 minutes of a match, and that was in 2008. So it's 8 years later,
Yeah.
and we're still doing it.
But we weren't a particularly great side then. We became one for a few years, and we still did it.
Yeah. Do you
Like
remember
even in matches, even in the match
Claremont
against,
in the RDS?
or even I'd say one of the best performances that you'd ever see Leinster play was in the quarter-final against Cardiff, and we went to sleep for a period in that game as well.
Yeah.
You know,
We
even
could
though
afford to.
Yeah.
we could afford to because we scored some fantastic tries, but we still went to sleep during the game. And it seems like this team isn't. It's a new team, and it's it hasn't reached its maturity like that team had.
But it's picked up its traits already.
But it's certainly picking up something from it.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, back in 2008, in 2010, we went to sleep for the first 20 minutes against Claremont. If you remember, we won that game in a 20-minute period between 20 minutes and 40 minutes.
We went a couple of tries down actually.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and then absolutely went flying back, and then that was it. That was it for the thing. And but we do that a lot. We do tend to drift off matches for 20 minutes, half an hour, and. Yeah, okay, if you're a good team and you build up a big lead, you can do it against Edinburgh. We try that next week against Ospreys, or at the weekend against Ospreys.
Yeah.
We will get slaughtered.
Well, we did have Brock James playing for us that day, thankfully.
Yeah.
He put that 20 quid. I slipped him before the game. He put that last conversion wide, or that last drop goal wide, which was nice of him.
Yeah.
I thought. Here's
He,
Bob.
he did not want to take that kick. You could
No.
not find him with GPS and a map.
Well, there was obviously some other games at the weekend as well. One game I kind of tipped on earlier was the Ulster Scarlets. Ulster, similar to Leinster, had a huge amount of possession, and they didn't get their bonus point. We should have got their bonus point.
Put them away.
Couldn't put them away. But there's one piece of magic from Piatau where it looked like a try,
Pure sex.
and he just managed to make an intercept and then created a counter-attack move.
One-handed intercept while faking a tackle. Like,
No, he's a wonderful player. I mean, he is to Ulster. Well, he will be to Ulster. I can see him being to Ulster. What Dougie Howlett was to Munster, or Issa
Absolutely.
Nasiwa was to us. I mean, he's a super player.
Yeah.
He's just on another level.
but they'll still be too busy giving out about losing Payner for a year.
No, yeah. Well, I don't say I blame him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but if you could get magic like that
Mhm.
every week on tap, which they may well do, from a guy like that, just the audacity to try something like that,
Yeah,
you know, because obviously it was a 2-on-1.
and he's still young, John. You know.
Yeah, 25 or 6.
Yeah, like he's not like he's kind of in his 30s and just coming over here for his pension.
Well, he could have. I'm not quite so sure whether he left New Zealand because he didn't make the World Cup
No,
squad,
no,
or whether
it's the other way around.
he left before he had the chance to make the World
No,
Cup squad.
no. He had signed a contract with Ulster for this year
Yeah.
because his contract that would have taken him through the World Cup if he'd made the World Cup squad, the contract he would have signed for the World Cup would have taken him up to the beginning of this season with the NZRU. And so that's why he signed for Ulster.
All right, to
And-
try, and then it fell.
And
away,
then he
yeah.
didn't make the World Cup squad, which nobody expected. Nobody expected him not to make the World Cup squad. So then he also tried to sign him a year early. The IRFU said no, which is why he spent that year with
It was.
Wasps. But he would have been under contract. Nobody could believe it. I mean, it was a huge shock, if you recall.
Well, remember, maybe Steve Hansen just said, "Are you going to Ulster? Are you?" Well, hey,
That,
not
that,
getting
could,
to go
that,
in the
could
World
well, that
Cup.
could well be it. That
Oh.
could well be it. But it was a massive shock when he didn't make the World Cup squad because they brought who did they bring instead who hadn't played an awful lot? Was it Milner Scudder? Milner Scudder who hadn't played a whole lot of rugby,
Yeah,
you know.
but then
Milner Scudder turned out to be brilliant.
Like, you know, what a terrible,
No, but what I'm
terrible
saying,
decision
but that just shows.
was.
I mean, that just shows. We know how good Piatau was, and they could do without him. But that's New Zealand. I mean, they just picked him off.
It's incredible, isn't it? It really
They're
is.
playing as they demonstrated. Yeah,
Well, I remember, like, we're old enough to remember that New Zealand thought, do you know what? That fine get Twig Mala. We can do without him. We can get somebody bigger. We can get somebody faster. You know?
Jonah.
Yeah.
Lona Jomu.
Well, John, your dark horses for the league, Cardiff,
Hey.
had a nice victory over Glasgow.
Even a stop George Hook is right twice a millennium. Yeah, well, if I kept saying they're going to do it, they'll eventually win 3 games in a row, and they have done. And we'll see how they go. Hopefully, they'll come to a shuddering halt the week after this one. When we go
That was
over
a bit of a surprise result because Glasgow actually outscored them 3 tries to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was just at their kicks they managed to get.
But I didn't see the game obviously because it wasn't on telly, but it does show that they have a bit of fire in their belly nowadays, you know, that they maybe didn't have until quite recently. The Cardiff team that we've seen pitching up in the RDS for the last 5 years has not had that fire in its belly apart from 1 or 2 players.
See what happens on the international squad for the autumn internationals. The name, see how much
Yeah.
fires in the belly.
Well,
I mean, we've seen it happen before with Cardiff. I mean, I hope for the league because they're capital city clubs and they should be doing well. And it's important that capital city clubs do well, just in terms of the whole event nature of the game. But Cardiff always do this. They always go well for a period and then they just lose all interest.
Yeah, but if you look
we
at
said
their,
that about Connacht last year and they won the
but
league.
if you
No,
look,
in the
but if-
Connacht are an entirely different proposition.
But if you
than
look at
Cardiff.
their team sheet, I mean, they've got some world class players in there. The captain of the Lions, they've got the winger from the Lions.
Sure, they always have had.
They always have, but they never seem to turn up and play for them. But they seem to, for whatever reason, now they're playing at the moment. So
I remember them
We
coming
should
over to
see.
Dublin and they had, the future captain of the Lions, they had Martin Williams, they had Jamie Roberts, they had all
Yeah,
these star
Cuthbert.
names, and they were feckin' dreadful. So
yeah.
Well,
they look they weren't dreadful. Everyone can play poorly. Every team plays poorly every now and again. They were disinterested. They looked lazy.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
You're right.
you saw that game. You remember that
Absolutely,
game?
yeah.
Jamie Roberts was an absolute
Yeah.
disgrace to the shirt that day.
Brian O'Driscoll was sensational for about 20 minutes and
He
he
got
got
injured.
injured.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how they develop. Where are they this week?
Zebre.
I think they might pick up a
Well, they might-
win number 4
They
there.
might have 4 in a row, so they'll be coming into our game with 4 in a row.
Are they home or away to
They're
Zebre?
away to Zebre.
Well, we'll discuss that in part 2, but maybe Zebre will be looking for revenge for the
Connacht.
the cruel god's fate.
Well, that was another game that that happened last week.
Yeah.
Connacht got out of jail by 4 minutes or something. Where if they'd have played another 4 minutes, they would.
Do you remember the floodlight failure, Jason,
Against Newport.
against Newport? Kind of a season-changing. I wonder, is this Connacht season changer?
I wonder, because
so.
they were 22-10 down.
Yeah.
Now, I know in the commentary they said it was 56 minutes, but I was reading on the Pro 12 website, it said
Half-time.
40 minutes.
Yeah,
so
it was half-time. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
so they actually had a few more minutes.
It was 56 minutes since kick-off when
Right.
it was decided, because
right,
you had the half-time and all that.
Yeah.
But no, it was 40 minutes, so it was called off at half-time. They got lucky there. They really
They
did.
really did.
But it, sometimes, like we say with the Newport failure in floodlights, with the floodlight failure in Newport for Leinster that time, sometimes it takes something like that to
Copy
an
it on.
opportunity. That,
And it's given them that extra game or half a game to get under their belts, is that they had their pre-season disrupted.
if been 12 points down at half time to Zebre doesn't focus your mind, nothing will.
Yeah, that's true. And they are officially the worst team in the league because Treviso have improved, even though Treviso actually finished bottom last season.
Treviso were mullered by Ospreys,
They were.
64-10.
Ospreys seem to be able to do that.
That's why Muller teams.
They when there's a mullering going, like Leinster kind
We've rarely had a
of
huge score like that.
Yeah, they don't. They tend not to.
Because what we do is we take our foot off the gas.
Exactly.
well,
yeah.
that's what I was about to
Ospreys
say.
never
We
do.
might get to 40, we
We're
rarely
just-
get
We're
to
just
60.
terribly nice chaps. We don't want to humiliate them like the All Blacks do.
The Ospreys just they have no compunction about
No, well they're
putting
right.
the sword in. And no, I agree entirely.
Try an extra try, and the try difference doesn't come any. If it's going to come easy, you might as well take it. And as the All Blacks famously say, it's showing respect to the team, not letting up. It's showing,
Don't give a sucker an even break.
Plus, getting a bit of a soft victory, even if it is a bit of a soft victory, can help stiffen spines later on the season when things are going hard.
We shall see. Hopefully, they're a little bit cocky when they come to the RDS. Although the Ospreys' cockiness suits them, Anyway, we're
We'll get onto that
into
in-
part
in a
2
while.
very
Well, just
very early here.
the final match of the round was the Dragons' narrow loss to Munster, 16-20.
Not a great, how would I describe it? I mean, it wasn't a great game, but it was a good competition. You know what I mean?
Your man,
It was an enjoyable watch.
the South African second row lad was fairly handy looking.
Got a-
Fine,
for
yeah,
a try, didn't he?
yeah, he did, yeah.
He's a decent looking signing for them. Who's probably replacing Chisholm.
Mhm.
So outside of that, they won by 4 points in Rodney Parade. I suppose they'll take that.
Oh God, yeah.
Uh,
Win's a win.
One lad we mentioned last week, Sweetenham, did manage to cross the try line, but
Yeah.
unfortunately dropped the ball.
Don't.
And
He was bloody lucky.
He was
that
very
wasn't,
lucky that
it wasn't given a knock on. It was very hard not to knock a ball on. That's all I'd say on the matter.
But they got out of jail there, and Newport, as we found,
That's
much
tough.
to our
It's tough,
cost.
yeah.
The Dragons may be shocking when they go away. Although we've also found out to our cost quite recently that
Not necessarily
not
always.
necessarily always, but
But they
they're
don't like
always-
they don't like losing in that little patch of theirs,
They
No,
always
but
get
they
it
had
up
a
at
chance to win at the very end of the game. They kicked up the line and they had a couple of minutes, or maybe 30 seconds. They just couldn't keep possession of the ball.
No, they spilled a pill. Yeah, and that was the end of that.
Yeah. So that pushes Munster into 6th, and they lie on the same number of points as us in 9th. Or sorry, 9 points. And we've got the Ospreys still unbeaten.
Yeah, they're looking fairly ominous, aren't they?
They are.
not only
I mean, in
unbeaten,
fairness,
but
I mean, they've had. I mean,
20
they've played
tries.
3 games, and 2 of those games were against Italian teams.
Yeah.
They were at home to Italian teams.
Yeah.
So I mean, the table will shake itself down.
Undoubtedly, but they're still got 15 points in the bag
Oh yeah, yeah.
in September.
We have our 2 road trips to Scotland out of the way now,
Yeah.
That's also
and
good 'cause
like,
we lost them both last year,
Mhm.
and still topped the league.
did we?
We did.
Did we?
We did. Lost them both in September last year,
Yeah.
and still topped the league. So fingers crossed, eh?
Yep. So that's all for part 1. Thanks very much, boys, and don't forget to join us for part 2. Cheers.